Good morning, everyone. I think I could take that off now, can I? Okay, we'll start again. Good morning, everyone. I'm Lloydetta Quaco, the founder and CEO of Sharing Our Cultures. Thank you so much for joining us here today, both in person and virtually, for this exciting announcement to share details in the recent provincial budgets that support our newcomers, communities, and population growth. Joining us for this announcement today are the Honorable Andrew Furey, Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, the Honorable Jerry Byrne, Minister of Immigration, Population Growth and Skills, the Honorable Tom Osborne, Minister of Education, Mr. Amir Alaguza, Project Manager for the Association for New Canadians, and Mr. Paul Preston, CEO of Tech NL. We have a number of speakers today because, as you will see, a list of initiatives provides supports on a number of levels, each playing an important part in our shared goals of welcoming more newcomers than ever before, while also fostering communities where diversity is welcome and actively celebrated, and while addressing racism and systemic barriers. At this time, we respectfully acknowledge the province of Newfoundland and Labrador as the ancestral homelands of many diverse populations of Indigenous people who have contributed to 9,000 years of history, including the biotic on the island of Newfoundland. Today, this province is home to diverse populations of Indigenous and other people. We also acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of the Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit. Our first speaker this morning is the Honorable Andrew Furey, Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Thank you, Dr. Quaco. It's rare that I have to adjust the mic up after somebody speaking. It's a pleasure to have you today here for this event, and welcome to everyone for joining us this morning in person. Again, good to see people in person finally, but also those joining virtually at home. It may be hard to believe, but we're closing in on 1 month since our government delivered the provincial budget. And today we have an opportunity to profile a number of investments we are making to support newcomers to come to Newfoundland and Labrador, to live, to grow, and to stay. Investments to support multiculturalism and celebrating diversity in our communities, and to address discrimination and racism. Let's be perfectly clear. Discrimination and racism have no place in the heart of Newfoundland and Labrador. And we need to make that clear to everyone, particularly those we want to welcome with open arms. Our government makes these investments for several reasons, as we have learned from the many people from all over the globe who have already chosen to make homes here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Diversity is our strength. It shouldn't be feared. It should be welcomed and fostered. We are all stronger for their commitment to making this place better for all of us. There is, of course, another important reason to invest in strong, diverse communities. As I have said on many, many occasions, we have a population crisis. Newfoundlanders and Labradorians are getting increasingly older, and our population growth is stagnant. Decades ago, this province had 6 children for every senior. Now, we have almost 2 seniors for every child. Newfoundland and Labrador is the only province in Canada with a declining population, and as we age, there are fewer young people here to replace our workforce. We need a government-wide effort to grow our population. Our government is committed to welcoming 5,100 newcomers a year by 2026. And we are confident that the investments and initiatives we are speaking of here today will help us achieve just that. Welcome more newcomers. It sounds like an easy task, doesn't it? It's not. But we are getting increasingly better at it, and we will get better still. Everyone across our beautiful province has a part to play in this initiative. The investments we are describing here today support newcomers and population growth on many fronts, all of them necessary for success. And they include, but aren't limited to, of course, switching to a new online application system to make it easier and faster for newcomers to Canada to settle right here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Adding more immigration staff, including staff to assist employers find and hire the global talent they need to grow and prosper, and to help newcomers choose Newfoundland and Labrador as their new home and navigate the often complex immigration system. Supporting integration and settlement of newcomers, including employment and training, foreign qualification recognition, language training, cultural support, and other initiatives to help newcomers adapt to their new home and foster a sense of belonging right here at home. Increasing English as a second language instruction in our K-12 education system. You'll hear more about these actions shortly from our speakers this morning. Today's investments send a strong signal that in the months to come, as we work towards social and economic recovery, immigration will be a key pillar in our success. So you can expect to hear a lot more about this from myself and Minister Byrne. We know that Newfoundland and Labrador offers a high quality of life that is second to none anywhere in the world. We know the benefits of living here: caring communities, access to just spectacular nature, a happy, healthy, safe place for children to grow up. We offer a business environment where imagination, determination, and hard work can help you build your own future and take you as far as you want to go. And that's why I created the Department of Immigration, Population Growth, and Skills with Minister Byrne at the helm to show that this is a top priority for our government. Newcomers enrich not only our culture, but also our entrepreneurial spirit. Their skills and work experience enable employers to fill key positions so we can better compete in the global marketplace. We have exciting opportunities in emerging and traditional industries like the technology sector, and we are working to recruit the necessary talent and skills to bring these opportunities to fruition. And Mr. Paul Preston of TechNL will speak to that shortly. Sure, Newfoundland and Labrador faces challenges. Who doesn't? But I believe strongly there is a great reason for optimism in this province. Moving ahead and having more newcomers in our communities to settle and raise families is key to our provincial success. This Newfoundland and Labrador family is reaching and will reach its full potential under our guidance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Premier Furey. Our next speaker is the Honourable Jerry Byrne, Minister of Immigration, Population Growth and Skills. Minister Byrne.
So wonderful to see you, Dr. Quaco, again. And thank you, Premier. Thank you to all in attendance, both in person and the many attending virtually. While it is so great to be back in person in small assemblies as we come out of our COVID securities and precautions, we still remember that prudence is always warranted. So thank you so much for those watching virtually and those in attendance. Assembled today, both here with us and virtually, are leaders from our business community, leaders from the community providing supports for resettlement and integration, leaders from our cultural communities, leaders from those who combat and give voice to those who are less empowered, those that give voice to the anti-racism, anti-discrimination, and just those who plead for inclusion, those who remind us of what public service is all about. They are with us today. It is so important never, ever to forget, to always be emboldened, to move forward in action, given the horrendous actions that were ill-advisedly taken in London, Ontario just recently. We stand against Islamophobia and with the Muslim community of Newfoundland and Labrador in Canada in action against such horrific actions that were taken there. It is why we are here today. Standing in the foyer of the Confederation building in front of the House of Assembly, it reminds us all about what public service is truly all about. We are embarking on something which is bold, ambitious. It is moving the mark in terms of the Furey government's policies, plans, and priorities. As minister responsible for immigration and multiculturalism, I can say to you without doubt or waver, this government under Premier Andrew Furey will make a difference in our population growth, in our diversity, in our inclusion, and our economic well-being through immigration. Attracting newcomers and the skills and the talents and the diversity that they provide each and every one of us is essential. It is not something that is laudable or worth experimenting with. It is essential that we succeed at this if we are to grow and succeed, and our standard of well-being, our standard of living, is to be maintained. We must succeed at this, and succeed we will. And succeed we will because of the partnership that is assembled here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Not only in this room, not only virtually, but across our entire province. We are speaking in common cause and common phrase. We need to accomplish this. So when I look at some of our early successes, this is not an exercise which we have begun with doubt. The Premier and I launched a new initiative, a new pathway some short time ago called Priority Skills. It was a pathway to bring talented individuals, those with specific experience that was needed by our province and educational backgrounds, and to attract them to Newfoundland and Labrador. I'm very pleased to report to this august assembly that in the short time that portal, that pathway has been open, we have sought the attention and interest of over 12,000 individuals, people who have skills, talents, and experience to offer. As one example alone, in the healthcare sector, my department is now actively examining and welcoming 385 people for the healthcare professions, nurses, personal care attendants, and others engaged in healthcare. This is an exercise that we shall succeed at by attracting the best. We will do so, and we will encourage them to stay. We'll do that through settlement initiatives. We'll ensure that we have broad arms to our cultural communities to make sure that happens. I'm so delighted with the partnership that my department and our government shares with the Association for New Canadians, with Memorial University, with College of the North Atlantic, with our industry sectors, with all who share this common vision. It is a common vision which we must share with our neighbor. So, to accomplish that, today's highlight, it goes more than just simple budget numbers. It speaks to the true priorities and the plans and priorities of the government, but that cannot be accomplished unless you put actions to your words. To put actions to the words Premier Furey and Minister Siobhan Coady through Budget 2021 have put in the enabling tools to make this happen. Not only will the very necessary and very valuable $2 million that has been allocated annually for promotion of immigration into our province, attracting those talents that we need. It's a big, big world out there. We're attracting new talent. We're also making sure that the pathway is easy to accomplish, or easier to accomplish. You know, speaking to the past, but speaking more to the future, in the past we had in many instances we had paper forms. People had to fill out paper application forms, which made processing times longer and more difficult. Well, that's not the 21st century, not the 21st century, not this government. Our government is investing. We're in a one-time initiative to digitize that process, to make the application form seamless for the applicant, but as well moving forward to the federal government. That will improve our processing times, $2 million being spent there. We are going to spend a total of $2.5 million annually on retention, integration, and resettlement services, because this is so important as well. But one of the things that I'd also like to highlight is that across government, we're going to spend $100,000 annually making sure that across government, pan-government, we have government officials, staff, executive that are fully aware of the immigration imperative, but also how to be able to work with other departments, other governments, and other stakeholders in a very inclusive environment. We are seeking immigration and population growth in all policies, and doing so in a way that promotes inclusion and fights discrimination, fights racism. $100,000 annually will be invested in that initiative within the government. But in addition to that, we will near double our immigration team. To do this and do this successfully, we need the public servants, the public staff, the public expertise to be able to make this work. And so, while government is, of course, facing significant fiscal challenges, we also know that one of the routes outside to move beyond our fiscal challenges and into greater prosperity is through immigration. It is an economic lever, and unlocking that economic lever is essential to improving our fiscal outlook for our province. So $1 million annually will be spent on additional staff to help process applications, but in particular to transform the very Office of Immigration and Multiculturalism. Most of the team were involved in processing. We are going to take a far more activist role. We're going to actively seek out employers who would like to have new talents, new skills into their team. We're going to actively work with Newfoundland and Labrador employers to build up skills levels, skills bases from their existing employees, to recruit new employees from within the province, but we are going to be totally unreserved about working with employers to attract talent from outside of the province, outside of the country. So we're going to not only make sure that we have a team on the ground working with employers within the public service, through our many employment service offices, and also through our team of over 230 employment service officers working directly with employers. But we're also going to have a team that scouts outside jurisdictions, countries, communities of people who would like to come to Newfoundland and Labrador. And sometimes that will be outside of the norm. You know, there are very, very specific areas of the world that have incredible strengths and talents. Just by way of an example, I spoke recently to the ambassador to Canada and to the United States and Mexico for Uzbekistan. And Uzbekistan has a very unique situation underway. They have a very large young population, highly skilled, highly educated, but without jobs. He met with me at his request to find out if we can attract some of those talents and some of those skills. That's doing things differently. And if you're going to succeed, you need to do them differently. If you want to change, the first thing you have to do is change what you do. And so that's the approach that we're taking. We're not only looking at this from an employer point of view, because this will be largely employer-driven, but we'll also be looking at the communities that we attract, and we'll attract new communities. That's the diversity that we seek. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are off to a brand new day. We're off to a brand new day and a brand new future. Immigration is core to this government's strategic priorities and policies, and we will succeed together. Thank you very, very much. There's so much to do. I look forward to doing it with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Byrne. Our next speaker is the Honorable Tom Osborne, Minister of Education. Mr. Osborne.
Thank you, Lloydetta. The Premier and Minister Byrne have both highlighted government's commitment to immigration and population growth. And as Minister of Education, I wanted to take the opportunity to highlight what that commitment looks like in my portfolio. Multicultural education is one of the 9 focus areas of the Education Action Plan, which has guided the department's efforts since it was launched in 2018. It has been a priority area because our government recognizes that immigration contributes to increased diversity and to the social, economic, and cultural growth of our province. Collectively, government, the school districts, and other partner agencies are making a sustained effort to ensure schools are a welcoming place for newcomers. As part of this work, we've developed a framework to enable a broad and meaningful response to the educational needs of newcomers, to the students of diverse cultural backgrounds in our school system. We've also revised the LEARN program, a literacy and numeracy program for newcomer students with little or no prior schooling. The students in this program are often arriving in Canada as government-assisted refugees and may have limited experience in a formal education system. The program has been described to me by some as a lifeline for these students, as well as being a community within a community. And we plan to expand this program over the coming years in working with groups like Sharing Our Cultures and others. The main support they identify for the children of newcomer families is English as a second language. To meet this need, we've worked to improve the student-teacher ratio of ESL teachers. This year, the Premier has made sure that we've included 4 new additional English as second language teachers in the system at a cost of approximately $400,000. This builds on 8 additional ESL teachers we've hired last year and the previous year. It's a total annual investment, year over year, of $920,000 going forward. As we continue to attract new immigrants between now and 2026, we will continue to evaluate our supports at the school level. We will continue to prioritize investments that ensure that newcomer students are given every opportunity to thrive and feel welcome in our communities. We will also continue to celebrate diversity and multiculturalism in our schools and the need for all students to learn about the many cultures of the world. I want to thank you again, Lloydetta, as a pioneer in sharing our cultures. It's a pleasure to be here again. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Osborne. Our next speaker is Amer Alaguza. He's a project manager with the Association for New Canadians. Mr. Alaguza.
Thank you, Dr. Quaco, Premier Furey, Minister Byrne, and Minister Osborne. It's a pleasure being here today. The provincial funding announced today is not only an acknowledgement to the support and services that the Association for New Canadians provide to the Newcomers community. It is also a trust that is put in the agency and our partners. A trust that will not only make us work harder and smarter and keep on innovating to make sure that we achieve an utmost synergy between us and the government and our partners. As the province's leading provider for immigration services, we're looking forward to work hand in hand with the government and to play an important role in achieving the target of bringing in 5,100 new immigrants annually by 2026. Our role goes beyond attracting newcomers. We are determined to also keep on working towards integrating them and providing them with the inclusion and retain them in the province. Not only in St. John's metro area, but also across the province through our 7 satellite offices. We achieve that through innovative programming that aims to provide, to name a few, settlement and resettlement services, ESL training, child and youth programming, employment and training services, diversity programs for employers and schools, and a social enterprise that hosts innovative projects to develop and upskill the skill sets of the new immigrants here in the province. Through these programs, we serve permanent residents, temporary residents, provincial nominees, international students, temporary foreign workers, humanitarian programs clients, and Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program clients. I am a living example of the support that the Association for New Canadians provide to the Newcomers community. I arrived here in Newfoundland and Labrador as an international student to get my master's degree at the Memorial University of Newfoundland. After graduating, the ANC provided me with the opportunity to help develop their social enterprise pilot and to put into practice my past experience and my degrees to make sure that we develop the social enterprise. And I have now been here in the province for 2 years, a little over 2 years actually, and I'm on my way to receive my permanent residency status after being endorsed by the government of Newfoundland and Labrador under the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program stream. Dr. Furey, Mr. Byrne, and Mr. Osborne, on behalf of the Association for New Canadians, I thank you for the trust and the support. And I promise we, myself and my colleagues at the ANC, will spare no effort to further reinforce our services and the support that we provide to the Newcomers community and closely collaborate with the government to make sure we achieve the targets required. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Alaguza. Our final speaker, maybe I could do that. Our final speaker is Paul Preston. He's the CEO of TechNL. Mr. Preston.
Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I thought to highlight the importance of immigration for the technology and innovation sector here, it'd be important to give you a little bit of context. The sector is about $1.6 billion, so bigger than tourism, bigger than the fishery, bigger than aquaculture, agriculture. It is a robust sector in and of itself that employs about 6,500 people. But in addition to that, technology is increasingly being driven and really being adopted in all sectors of our economy. To put it simply, our competitiveness across our province is really going to hinge on our ability to become tech-enabled, to adopt innovation, and to really think differently about how we bring our products and our services and our expertise to the world. If you look at independent studies that have been done, the expectation is about 2,000 hires, tech hires, in the next 4 to 5 years. Our fastest growing companies that are Tech&L members, the top 5 fastest growing, we call them, expect to hire about 750 in the next 3 to 4 years. So we're working on a multi-pronged strategy within our group to really help build the talent pipeline for the tech sector. That strategy includes more women in tech, more girls in technology, really encouraging our youth, our young girls in K to 12 to consider a career in tech. It includes high school programming. Thanks to the Department of Education, we now have CNA accredited courses into high school starting in September as a pilot. It's fantastic to see. This summer, between Verafin and our Tech&L programming, we're going to place more than 120 high school kids in tech companies to expose them to the sector. We see new programs at Kean College, CNA, and others around software development and coding expertise. And we see more programming around trying to get displaced workers into our sector. That's all great, but it's still not enough. Immigration really is that critical pathway that we need to really help fuel the growth that we're already seeing in our sector. And if we do not get that immigration mix correct, we will constrain the potential growth of our sector. Immigration for us really is that critical component of the strategy. And there's no doubt in our mind that we need to facilitate both the attraction and retention of immigrants. We know that a target of 5,100 by 2026 is a fantastic target if we get the supports right. So I'm very pleased to see that balance in the announcements today between attraction and retention supports, working with great groups like the ANC. For us in our sector, the benefits immigration brings cannot be understated. About 2 years ago, the founder of Genoa said to me in a board meeting, "What's your biggest concern facing the sector?" Talent, yes, but especially the kind of specialized talent that we need to see, and experienced talent that's hard to get. You need global experience and global expertise. That was my biggest fear a couple of years ago, is our ability to attract that talent. And today's announcement goes a long way into helping, I guess, allay my fears and help me to sleep better at night, as well as our companies in the tech sector. Immigration not only brings those specialized skill sets we need, but importantly, it provides important links for our companies around the world. Most tech companies are born global. We have a small domestic economy. We sell to the world. Our customers are around the world. Having immigrant staff on and within our companies and within our management ranks provides those international connections we need to be able to scale, to export, and to bring our amazing products around the globe. There's also interesting links between entrepreneurship and immigration talent. If you look at studies around Canada and around the world, it's amazing. Immigrants punch well above their weight in founding new companies, and especially new tech companies. If you walk the halls of Genesis Center in Amera, it's amazing how many young companies you see immigrant founders, co-founders, and immigrant local co-founders on companies, and that's a fantastic mix that we see. To close, I think within our sector, perhaps more than other sectors, we're creating new things every day. We're solving problems that have yet to be solved. And the only way to do that is through diverse skill sets, diverse experiences, a workforce that brings different mindsets and a different culture to think about problems in a different way. So we are really thrilled to see the announcements being made today to support that talent attraction, to support scale-up and growth of our sector, and we look forward to being a partner in the success of the announcements today. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Preston. And thanks to all our speakers who took time out of their extremely busy schedules to participate in today's announcement. Minister Osborne, Premier Furey, Minister Jerry Byrne, Mr. Alaguza, Mr. Preston, thank you so much. We also want to thank all those who attended in person. Thank you for being here, and also those who joined us virtually. This concludes our event for today. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.